Seed potatoes, Emerald Mist _67, hello little tatoes. Don't forget to reach out to us officers if you have questions or need help.
Chemicals that don't belong in your body. Yellow number 5, polysorbate amyl aluminum salt. That's not food, that's science experiment. This is different. Garlic, horseradish, dill, grape leaf, no vinegar, no
Tasty's Trading Company, Evisother Helper, X.
Alive with probiotics. Good for your gut, better for your life. After a week, the transformation hits. Cucumbers turn into something wild, fizzy, and real. 3 days in the fridge and the flavor snaps. That sound, that's what really food tastes like. Don't eat what's shelf stable for a decade. Make something your body actually
Tasty's Trading Company, Sophia's Sake, full.
Your store.
Let's see. Do I even want to watch anything?
Front arrow or multi-shot? Multi-shot. Multi-shot or rear arrow? Multi-shot. Okay. Multi-shot or extra life? Extra life, extra life.
Explain. You'll know that we regularly post interesting questions in our community tab, asking for responses from you, our dear fans. These have ranged from questions about specific knowledge,
Sorry, my
like
ear itched.
SCP-086, or your suggestions on how we should actually kill SCP-682, the hard-to-destroy reptile.
There's a rat
We
in my
even asked
jacket.
you which anomalous powers you'd want
It's
to
my
have,
baby.
and posed your questions
She
directly
just a
to
baby.
SCP-343, also
She
known as
just a
God,
baby.
and of course, the terrifying and infamous Scarlet King. But in our
Okay,
latest
so we're going
community
towards
question,
that one.
asking you about hypothetical crossovers between the SCP Foundation and the weird, wild multiverse of all fiction, you truly outdid yourself, with thousands upon thousands of responses. And we thought rather than just making one video selecting our favorites, we'd turn each of our favorites into whole videos. And how are we going to do that? That's where this wonderful state-of-the-art gizmo comes into play. You may remember the Anomatron 6000, our incredibly advanced artificial intelligence-driven supercomputer designed specifically to run simulations for the SCP Foundation. We fed this computer data from countless SCP Foundation experiments and cross-tests, and all the data from your suggestions. This will allow the fine folks at the SCP Foundation to explore any anomalous hypothetical without risking the lives of staff members or civilians. This brings us to our first simulation, suggested in a huge number of comments. Could SCP-682 be contained within the backrooms? For those not known, the backrooms is an internet urban legend that spiraled into a full-blown phenomenon. It's built on the premise that if you're not careful and enter certain specific circumstances, you can no-clip out of our reality and enter a terrifying multi-level alternate reality, where you're stalked by a variety of bizarre and frightening creatures. This could be a complete nightmare for your average person, but how would it play out if SCP-682, the endlessly angry, hard-to-destroy reptile, found its way inside? Also, for another Backrooms-related surprise, stick around until the end of the video. In the meantime, though, let's boot up the Anomatron and test this new scenario. The worst had happened. Again, SCP-682 had busted out of containment during a cross-test and started making a beeline for the nearest cockpit. Several helicopters containing heavily armed MTF News 7 Hammerdown members were in hot pursuit, attempting to slow the vicious reptile down with targeted sniper fire at its legs. But it seems that these efforts were all for naught. SCP-682 had already reached the defunct industrial district on the edge of a nearby city, and if the beast managed to actually reach a populated area, all hell would break loose. That's when they pulled out the heavy weaponry. Miniguns mounted to the helicopters unleashed a rain of hellfire down onto SCP-682. However, 682 managed to dodge most of the bullets and simply
Jackpot payout, Dracex66. I'm gonna get on something else for a bit.
Once SCP-682 was back in control. However, the reptile had plans of its own. It charged into a nearby abandoned chemical plant to avoid the gunfire from above. This was exactly what Hammerdown wanted. The helicopters circled around the chemical plant and unleashed a barrage of powerful incendiary missiles, blowing the plant to kingdom come, in hopes of dragging an incapacitated 682 out of the rubble afterwards. But when the smoke had cleared, only was left, 682 was nowhere to be seen. Even for the hardcore operatives of Hammerdown, this caused an anxiety spike. Had it tunneled into the ground? had it
What's
adapted
up?
to the
What
attack
you
by
doing?
turning invisible and getting timing to escape. They'd done all these things before, or after all the deranged attempts at putting SCP-682 in the ground, had some light firebombing killed the monster? Whatever the case, they need to search. In case SCP-682 popped up somewhere else and started causing havoc. If it was still... well, it was. They couldn't rest on their laurels until they found it again.
When life gives you lemons, you make money. Squeeze a few, then hire someone to do it for you. Cha-ching!
Meanwhile, SCP-682 woke up. It felt groggy and irritated. Its body rested against
Excuse me.
It liquid moisture had a distinct flavor of human spinal fluid, which 682 had tasted many times before. The sickly yellow
Oh,
walls and
you're
incessant
a good guy.
fluorescent lights up above were nauseating, and it gave 682 a nagging headache. This only made 682's default emotion, blistering rage and hatred, even worse. They began walking around exploring this strange, spatial, anomalous environment. Was this more of that frustrating Foundation trickery? Another one of those puerile cross tests? The last thing 682 remembered was running at one of the walls in the chemical plant. A wall that, in hindsight, seemed darker than all the others. But rather than shattering through the brickwork, it was here now, in this strange, tacky lobby that never seemed to end. It was like a kaleidoscope of empty,
Stop them!
walls arranged and of course, as SCP-682 found it disgusting. It was only on level 0, and already 682 hated the backrooms just as much as it hated our dimension. Someone, or something, had to pay for the crime of inconveniencing it this way, and it would happily turn this whole dimension inside out, just to find some beings to kill inside it. Yes, that would be great fun. SCP-682 began its frantic search for an exit, evolving an innate sonar ability at speeds that would be impossible for
Hi,
human
baby.
beings.
What are you
This is
doing?
the part where most people die from hunger and thirst. SCP-682, not so much. It could keep searching, searching and searching until the sun faded out. It would find its way somehow, and when it did, it would put them through hell. And as it turned out, this new universe rewarded 682's guy's stubbornness, because when it passed through a seemingly random hallway after hours of searching, it was in a different place entirely. This place looked like some huge abandoned warehouse complex with water shining off the ground. If 682 had advanced knowledge of the backrooms, it would have known this was level 1. But the only number SCP-682 cared about was 1, and in that regard it would find level 1 to be a vast improvement. Two groups of humans had established bases in this level of backrooms. The Major Explorer Group, a faction of professional backrooms travelers who maintained their base alpha on this level, and the Backrooms Non-Aligned Trade Group, a commercial group whose primary base is an economic hub on this very level, a fortified city-like area with a population of 400 plus, which will, a few hours after 682's appearance, be a population of 0. But before all of that, it felt like grabbing a bite at the diner. Tom's Diner is a refuge for many people trapped in the
Bless you.
backrooms. A casual eatery
Goodness.
nestled into the cold warehouse environment of level 1, where people could get a warm meal from Tom, a former cook who's been trapped in the backroom for years. SCP-682 was eager to be part of this grand tradition, but the hard-to-destroy reptile decided to buck the trend a little by just devouring Tom himself. From there, it decided to launch its rage-fueled offensive against the various humanoid inhabitants of the level. Both the Major Explorer Group Base Alpha and the Backrooms Non-Aligned Trade Group Trade Keep were heavily fortified against the kind of entities these folks had gotten used to facing in the backrooms. But they were completely unprepared for a creature of SCP-682's sheer power, intelligence, endurance, and ferocity. The SCP Foundation had been
Don't know how you
studying the
run
creature for decades.
straight
with
over all
more
that,
resources
but
than
okay.
either of these two backrooms-bound groups, and they still had a hard time keeping the beast consistently contained. Sadly, for the great bastion of human hope in the backrooms, SCP-682 swept through both outposts in a matter of hours, killing everyone there without an ounce of remorse. The only person there it took its time with was the final human being left in the decimated remains of the Major Explorers Group Base Alpha. It grabbed the man by the throat and squeezed, asking with its guttural, growling voice,
Were you and your dead brethren allied with the SCP Foundation?
Despite his fear, the Explorer told 682 that he had never heard of the SCP Foundation, nor did he know what kind of entity 682 was.
Tasty's Trading Company, Knight_Shade_XO, VHRC and GF.
The Explorer gave as good a response as he could. 682 was trapped in the back rooms, a multi-level interdimensional nightmare filled with dangerous creatures. That made 682 curious. Dangerous creatures. That could make an interesting challenge. 682 asked the Explorer how it could access these other levels and find these creatures, and the Explorer explained that through exploring these levels enough, anyone could no-clip into the next one. It really was that simple. With that, 682 knew all it needed to know, and carelessly murdered the final human being of level 1. It had killed so many humans over its long and twisted life, it was no different from breathing air now. An utterly
Tasty's Trading Company, I'm Nightfox, auction on me.
Other creatures on the lower levels and teach them a new level of fear they'd never experienced. 682 stormed the halls until it achieved the next successful no-clip into level 2, which manifested as a series of old, dilapidated maintenance tunnels that seemed to stretch on for millions of miles. Wonderful.
Got those bad boys from Tire Agent. They offer no money down payment plans, fast and free shipping nationwide, and carry all the top brands. Check them out.
Tire Agent. Buying tires online has never been more affordable.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe ulcerative colitis symptoms can keep
What are you
coming
doing?
back. Break away to what's possible with Tremfya, with rapid relief at 4 weeks. Many people experienced remission at 1 and even 2 years. Some saw 100% visible healing of their intestinal lining.
Okay, I'll just
Serious
travel on
allergic
my
reactions and
Nightfox.
increased risk of infection and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Tremfya is now approved for Crohn's disease. Ask your doctor about.
There were humans here too, apparently. But who cared about them? This was the first level to feature a smorgasbord of entities ripe for the killing. It sped through the tunnels, teeth and fangs born, eager to deal death with lethal abandon. The first entities it encountered in the expansive tunnels of level 2 were a collection of beings known as crawlers, insect-like creatures infected with an extremely aggressive fungal growth. Just getting close to them could present an active risk to humans, not so much for a creature that would easily regenerate after being tossed into the sun. As the creatures tried to lunge, SCP-682 simply crushed and devoured them with little effort. They tasted a little stale on account of the fungus, but the chewiness was pleasing. Hopefully there would be more challenging foes down in the tunnel than these mere insects, SCP-682 thought to itself, while journeying deeper into the endless network of tunnels. Soon enough,
Tasty Jealous God says, unless you're trading for the 50-50, please move away from the front.
Its eyes quickly adjusted.
Tasty's
developing
Trading
into
Company,
night
Small Blue
vision.
Rose, did I
That's when
miss
it
my
spotted
turn?
Another creature sharing this little slice of darkness with it. A pair of floating, glowing eyes and almost cartoonish teeth.
Tasty's
grinning like
Trading
some
Company,
maniacal
Tasty
lunatic.
Jealous God, auction
This is an
starts at
entity
6
known
p.m.
as a
EDT.
Yo, what's going on, everyone?
Tasty's Trading Company, Tasty Jealous God, our guild's public auction is starting now. C4ML11073 says tonight's public auction is hosted by Guild Tasty's Trading Company and our newly opened Guild Tasty's Trading Agency. Hit right on the D-pad to cycle through the links and press square to apply. Tasty's Trading Company, Tasty Jealous God, travel to me to get here. Tasty's Trading Company, I'm Nightfox,
just
anyone
go over
selling
the rules
crowns?
really quickly for everyone, but just before I do, tonight's public auction is hosted by Tasty's Trading Company and the newly opened Guild Tasty's Trading Agency. Hit right on the D-pad if you have an extra guild slot free. We'd appreciate the bodies there. We're close to 100 members in that one.
New total.
So if you do have a guild slot free, jump on in. We're going to be building that one up to be just as big as Tasty's. But the bids are in 1k increments. If you see 50, it's a 50k bid.
Tasty's Trading Company, Quantum SP3CT3RX.
If you add to someone's bid, post the new total, because my brain ain't mathing just yet. Only bids in Say Chat count. If more than 5 items in the trade, please pay the seller in the first trade. That being said, it is a Tasty's Trading Company and Agency auction tonight. We will be starting off with a guild lot to start us off. Whenever you're ready, Tasty, you can link up that first guild lot. First public of the night after the guild lot will be Agent Navajo. Just a heads up, Agent.
Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Alchemy Writ.
50-50 is over on Mummy Jess.
Jealous
Go and
God
get some
says Sealed
tickets.
Alchemy Writ.
Tickets are 1k.
Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Blacksmithing Writ. Tasty's Trading Company, unaided _moon 44. I looking to buy 5k in crowns for standard banker. Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Blacksmithing Writ.
Yo.
Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Blacksmithing Writ. Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Blacksmithing Writ.
Fuck off, Fox.
Tasty's Trading Company, I'm Nightfox, unaided moon. Tasty Jealous God says
I'm gonna give you
Sealed
7.5.
Writ. Tasty Jealous God
How's that
says
sound?
Sealed Blacksmithing Writ.
Got here as quick as I could.
Tasty Jealous God says
Oh,
Sealed Blacksmithing Writ.
promises.
Tasty Jealous God
Promises.
says
Promises.
Sealed Blacksmithing Writ. Tasty's Trading Company, I'm Nightfox, NVMLOL. Tasty Jealous
I heard
God
8.
says Sealed Blacksmithing Writ.
But anyway, we got Tasty coming in with
Tasty's
some
Trading Company,
crafting writs
Quantum
for us to start us off. There's some blue,
Cool.
purple, and gold.
Tasty Jealous
And
God
this is one.
says Sealed
Have a look
Blacksmithing
through,
Writ.
see if there's some of the ones you want to know.
Tasty Jealous
There's
God
1,600
says
writ
Sealed
vouchers in
Blacksmithing Writ.
totals in this
Tasty
one.
Jealous God
It's a guild
says
lot
Sealed
and it's
Blacksmithing Writ.
open. Anybody
Tasty
to
Jealous
start
God
us off
says
at the
Sealed Blacksmithing Writ.
any mark, because we're
Tasty
open.
Jealous God says Sealed Clothier Writ. Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Clothier Writ. Tasty Jealous God says Sealed
Owned,
Clothier
coming
Writ.
in with a 200k. We're at
Tasty Jealous God
200,000 gold
says
from
Sealed
home.
Clothier
Do we
Writ.
see 201?
Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Clothier Writ. Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Clothier Writ.
It's a whole bunch of writ vouchers up in this one.
Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Clothier Writ. Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Clothier Writ.
Madam coming in with the
Tasty Jealous
210k.
God says Sealed Clothier
Mummy
Writ.
Jess!
Tasty Jealous God says
And coming
Sealed
back with the
Clothier Writ.
450k.
Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Clothier Writ. Tasty's Trading Company, unaided _moon 44. I have gold 1 mil.
They'll come in with
Tasty
the
Jealous God
500k.
says Sealed
We're at
Clothier Writ.
500k to cook, dog.
Tasty Jealous
And back with
God says Sealed
550k.
Clothier Writ. Tasty Jealous God
550k
says
now.
Sealed Clothier Writ. Tasty Jealous God
Cook dog back
says
with a
Sealed Clothier Writ.
580k.
Tasty Jealous God
And
says
back in with the
Sealed Clothier Writ.
600k. We're at 600,000
Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Jewelry Crafter Writ.
We're at 600,000 gold now. Do we
Tasty's
see
Trading
601 to get this
Quantum
one done?
SP3CT3RX.
Lots and lots of writ vouchers in this one.
Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Jewelry Crafter Writ. Tasty Jealous God says Sealed Jewelry Crafter Writ.
It's at
Tasty Jealous God
600,000
says
gold.
Sealed Jewelry
If we don't
Crafter Writ.
see any higher, any
Tasty
higher,
Jealous God says
that
Sealed
600k
Jewelry
could take this one
Crafter
away.
Writ.
Because it's going to be.
Tasty Jealous God
Going
says
once.
Sealed Jewelry Crafter Writ.
It's at
Tasty
600,000
Jealous
gold.
God
It's a
says
bid
Sealed
to
Jewelry
own,
Crafter Writ.
And it's going to be.
Thanks, Jess.
Tasty Jealous God
twice.
says Sealed Jewelry Crafter Writ.
It's the last and final
Tasty
call.
Jealous God
Or
says
it's
Sealed Jewelry Crafter Writ.
600,000 gold.
Tasty Jealous God says sealed jewelry crafter writ.
So,
Tasty Jealous God
you can go and
says
see
sealed jewelry crafter writ.
for your package.
Tasty
Up
Jealous
next
God
will beat
says
Agent
sealed
Navajo.
jewelry
Whenever you're
crafter
ready,
writ.
but you can start thinking up.
Tasty Jealous God says
I
sealed
came just in
jewelry
time.
crafter writ.
Damn, I don't even know what I was going to say.
Tasty
Hold on
Jealous
a
God
second, let me think of
says
something.
sealed woodworking writ.
Why
Tasty
does
Jealous
that
God
sound familiar,
says
Agent?
sealed woodworking writ.
Because I
Tasty
never know you're
Jealous God
going to
says sealed woodworking writ.
Shit. Hold on a
Tasty
second, let me
Jealous
get in the
God
sync
says
check.
sealed woodworking writ.
All
Tasty's
right.
Trading
All
Company,
right.
unaided _ moon
What
44.
did Tasty
Hold
just
on.
sell?
Tasty Jealous God says sealed woodworking writ.
He sold
Tasty
Rick
Jealous
vouchers.
God says sealed
Okay, Rick
woodworking
vouchers.
writ. Tasty Jealous God
After
says
this one
sealed
will be
woodworking writ.
small blue roast, just a heads up, small. You will
Jackpot
be
payout,
up after
maybe
Agent.
_IMO_ninja, 1 for Oatsworn Pit Farm. Tasty Jealous God says sealed woodworking writ. Tasty Jealous God says sealed woodworking writ. Tasty Jealous God says total equals 1,600
Good answer.
WV. Jackpot payout,
I was
Metal
gonna
Joe,
do
BRB.
opposite end.
Tasty Jealous God says guild lot is open from
Says the
Tasty's
opposite
Trading
one.
Company. Exonex82 says 200.
What is going on here? Friday night.
Mummagus83 yells guild 50-50 on the open
Seems
trade
like
and
you're
wait till I
alive for the
accept one
party,
KDA
Agent.
ticket 1 is a
People must be
50%
still
pot at
winding
15M,
down.
4th to
Yeah.
5th, for TH200 Poden
It's
5
early for you,
TH100
Agent.
Orbic at 35M, 2nd to
Hey,
3rd,
Owen, how you
2 in
doing,
the
bro?
100A.3
Pretty good.
RD200 ROE visit
Good, good. Good to
isowauctions.com
know,
for
good to
numbers. Current pot at
Maybe we could do some battlegrounds
3,282K.
later or something.
Cookdog23
Oh, yeah.
says 400.
10th, you're in the middle.
Murden the
I don't
One
think you'll be.
says
I don't think you'll be
210.
coming up against anyone with that. No.
Jackpot payout,
You're all
maybe
good.
_IMO_ninja,
Agent coming
no
in
hurry.
with some goodies in this one. We got
Tasty's Trading
alchemical
Company,
ingredients too.
illicit,
Start us
you
off.
already know I'm
We got
about
the
to blow
beetle,
my
scuttle,
money on that
blessed thistle,
50-50.
blue interloma, bug loss, butterfly wing, charis egg,
Exonex82
columbine,
says
cornflower, dragon,
450.
thorn, emetic rosala, flesh fly lava, imp,
Cookdog23
stool, lady
says
smoke,
500.
luminous rosala, mountain flower, Nemira's rock, nightshade, nernroot,
Exonex82
sprig,
says
spider's egg,
550.
stinkhorn, violet caprinus, water hyacinth,
Cookdog23
white cap,
says
and wormwood.
580.
We've also got the alchemical resin, fast, clean pelt,
Exonex82
upgrade, and
says
regulus.
600.
Open, baby.
C4ML110793
saying this one is
says
open.
G1.
Anybody to start us.
Tasty Jealous
Oh.
God yells, if you
Prof
ain't
coming in
trading,
with a
please move away
1K
from the
to
front.
take this one away.
Damn, prof. That is
Prof coming in with a 1K. Little Deb seeing the value in this one,
G2.
starting it off with a 210K.
Jackpot
After that
payout,
very
Death Metal Joe,
disrespectful
back.
1K. AFS coming in with a 250 now. We're up to 250K
says
to
sold.
take this one away. Here we see
Rubri
260.
Ellens,
Oh,
Zone,
any
Orbic
higher,
Amber 12K,
any
Perfect
higher.
Row 12K, Paquijo 5K, Mastic 100G, Ethereal Dust 70K, Zircon Plating 750G, Chrome Plating 4.3K,
Hey, it's a
Drip Wax 1K, Rosin
250,000
1K,
go.
1.4K,
Here we see
Tempering
251
Alloy 2.5K,
to get
Mundane
this
Rune
one done.
200G,
Oh,
Darkwood
any
200G,
higher,
Columbine
any
200G,
higher.
iBuying Send Mail COD 4 Gold. Exonex82 says, mail please. Spicy
I'll throw in
potatoes,
some feet
small
pics.
blue rose, public auction on me.
Anybody. Top
Tasty
bid
Jealous
is
God
250K
says, okay.
to AFS always.
Booze
If
Cruise,
we don't
small
see
blue
any
rose,
higher,
public auction on me.
that 250K could take it
Blood
away.
Rose, small
The
blue
Black
rose,
Slash coming in with a
public auction on me.
251 to get it done. We're at
Agent
Flesh,
Navajo
she's a bargain.
says,
Flesh, she's a
Scuttle.
bargain. Damn it.
252.
Agent Navajo
Anybody.
says, Bless Thistle.
Give
Agent
me
AFS
Navajo
vibes
coming
in the
back with a
house.
300K to take this one away. We're at
Jackpot
300K
payout,
now.
small
You see the
blue rose,
301?
public auction
Oh,
on me.
any higher. Any higher.
Agent Navajo says, Bugloss. Agent
Hey,
Navajo
it's a
says, Butterfly
300,000
Wing.
go. To AFS always.
Agent
If I
Navajo
don't
says,
see
Shorus
any
Egg.
higher. Any higher. This one's gonna be
Agent Navajo says,
going
Columbine.
once.
I see
Agent
this.
Navajo
That's
says,
gonna be just
Cornflower.
1,000 go. And
Agent
it's gonna
Navajo says, Dragon Thorn.
be going twice.
Agent Navajo
It's
says,
the
Genetic
last and
Rasula.
final call. We're at
Agent Navajo says,
300,000 go.
Fleshfly
And
Larva.
we
Agent Navajo says, Imp
so
Stool.
what a bargain.
Jackpot
What a
payout,
bargain.
maybe _IMO
Agent
_ninja,
sold
$1.
back.
100 Orbic
Up
Amber.
next is gonna be
Navajo says,
small
Lady
blue
Smart.
roast. Whenever you're ready, small. You can
Agent
start linking
Navajo
up your lot.
says Luminous Rasula. Agent Navajo says Mountain Flower.
I see Toom Sorella.
Agent
What's
Navajo
up,
says Namara's Rot. Agent Navajo says
Oh,
Nightshade.
50-50 is over on Mummy Jess.
Agent Navajo says
Jackpot is already at
Jackpot payout.
Let me take it out of my bag. I wasn't even
million gold. Second
Agent
place.
Navajo says Spider Egg. Agent Navajo says Stinker.
Opens up at the 35 mil.
Jackpot payout only underscore skooma G1. Agent Navajo says Violet Caprinas.
Man, I'm gonna have to turn on
Agent
some lights
Navajo
and sit down
says
for this.
Water Hyacinth. Agent Navajo says White Cap. Jackpot payout only underscore skooma G2. Agent Navajo says Wormwood. Jackpot payout Jesus Christ 414 too rich for my blood. Jackpot payout Death Metal Joe 350. Jackpot payout only underscore skooma LMFAO. Agent Navajo says Alchemical Resin. Agent Navajo says Bast. Agent Navajo says Clean Pelt. Agent Navajo says Ochre. Agent Navajo says Regulus. Jackpot payout Beefy Pork Chop underscore. Please don't promote the Balfoyan auctions here, please. Agent Navajo says Open. Prof Plays says 1K. Jackpot payout only underscore skooma ew. Lil underscore Deb underscore 1 says 210.
Spider egg in that always.
Jackpot payout Beefy
You
Pork
score
Chop
money now?
underscore right.
Yeah, I could go up. Hold on.
AFS underscore
Gotcha, that makes sense now. I just looked at that and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's Spider Egg.
Prop Plays says it's what I do best.
Just a heads up, that 50-50 is at
Trading Company,
6
no empathy
million gold.
TV, re-BBIT.
At 15
Tasty's
million,
Trading Company,
we'll be having
Tasty
4
Jealous
place
God,
opened
our
up for
public
200
auction on me,
potent and
travel
the
to meet a
orbit.
gift.
But if it gets over 35 million, there will be added a second place in the third place. In
Hippie
between
underscore
those.
Vibez underscore
Go get your
520
tickets
says
from
hello.
Mummy Jess, because you got to be in it to win it.
AFS
But
underscore
a big
always
one,
underscore
'cause there's some
8788
massive
says
prizes.
300.
We're all coming in with
says
some goodies
hello.
in this one. We have
C4ML110793
75 Torbanor,
says
187 green solvent, 171 honing stone,
C4ML11073
78
says
jewel
G2.
tempering alley, 22 drew wax,
C4ML11073
262
says
telegabani,
sold.
168 embroidery, 228
Mummy
chemi,
yells
109 donata,
50-50 on me open trade and wait till I
151
accept 1 KA
Jujota,
ticket 1 is
35
50%
Kuda,
pot at
50
15M 4th
Raguda.
to 5th. For
We got
TH
273
TH
alchemical
100
resin,
Orbic at 35M, second to third, 2ND 100 A.3 RD 200 or we visit isowauctions.com
we got
for numbers.
303
Current
decorative
pot at
wax,
6,082K.
140 hardwood.
Small Blue Rose says Dwarven Oil.
We got 72 ochre, 79
Small Blue
regular,
Rose says
11 chromium,
75.
230 iridium,
Small Blue
311
Rose says
perm,
grain solvent.
191 zircon plating,
Small Blue Rose
74
says
bourbon juice,
187.
63 Miriam, Cross Miriam,
Small Blue
perfect
Rose
rope,
says
there's
Honing
50
Stone.
of those, 19 mastic,
Small Blue
78
Rose
pits,
says 171.
30 rosin, 36 turpin,
ICY underscore Toom Sorilla says hey hey.
ethereal ambrosia, and
Small
some
Blue Rose
blueprints
says
coming up
tempering alloy.
next.
Small Blue Rose says 78. Small Blue Rose says Drag Wax. Small Blue Rose says 22. Small Blue Rose says Elegant Lining. Small Blue Rose says 262. Small Blue Rose says Embroidery. Small Blue Rose says 168. Small Blue Rose says Hemming. Small Blue Rose says 228.
Got a whole bunch of blueprint
Small Blue
art
Rose
in this one.
says
Have to flick
Denata.
through. There's some recipes
Small
in there
Blue
as
Rose
well.
says 109.
C4, did you text?
Small
Was that
Blue
supposed to be
Rose
got
says
you?
Jehoda.
Yeah, that was.
Small Blue Rose.
Okay, because it came up
Well,
TCHU, so I just wanted to make sure.
Small Blue Rose.
I don't know if that
That's
was
too
another
bad.
abbreviation.
Small Blue
got you,
Rose
man. That
says
was absolutely meant to
35.
be got you.
Okay.
Small Blue Rose says Rikuta.
Oh, there is some
Small Blue
crafting
Rose
motifs
says
up
50.
next. We got all, well, 1, 2,
Small Blue
4, 5,
Rose
6, and
says
8
alchemical resin.
crafting motifs.
Small Blue Rose
Have a flick
says
through, see if you need any of
273.
those. There is a 2 million
Small Blue
res.
Rose says Bass.
Anybody to start us off.
Small Blue Rose says
There's
114.
everything under the kitchen sink in this one.
Small Blue Rose says clean pelt. Small Blue Rose says 75.
Anybody.
Small Blue Rose
start us over
says
that 2
decorative
million
wax.
reserve.
Small
Have
Blue
a flick
Rose
through, see if
says
that price is right for
303.
you.
Jackpot payout, Death Metal Joe, Residential Plaza. Small Blue Rose says Heartwood. Small Blue Rose says 140. Small Blue Rose says
Do your
Ochre.
math, have a flick through.
Small Blue Rose says
see if
72.
this is what you want to get for you.
Small Blue Rose says
There's a lot of
Regulus.
stuff in it.
Small Blue Rose says 79.
If that 2 million
Small
reserve
Blue
isn't
Rose
that small,
says chromium
let me know what
plating.
you want to do if you want to pull it or potentially
Small Blue
lower
Rose
that reserve.
says 11.
But we'll
Small
give it
Blue
more
Rose
time before
says
we decide
iridium plating.
anything.
Small Blue Rose says 230. Small Blue Rose says turn plating. Small Blue Rose says 311.
That's everything always.
Small Blue
Anybody
says Zircon.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Tasties Trading Company,
You're welcome.
Illicitans.
That was a
got the
great deal, I'm
50-50.
not going to lie.
Yeah. We
Small
don't have
Blue
to do it
Rose
more than
says
once.
191. Small Blue Rose says Bervez Juice. Small Blue
I have to run
Rose
around in
If
says
we
circles to
don't
pull up
have
those
anyone
items.
hitting that 2 million
Small Blue
reserve,
Rose
we will
says
be
Frost Miriam.
pulling this one in
Small Blue Rose says 63.
5.
Small Blue Rose says perfect row. Small Blue Rose says
Oh.
50. Tasty's Trading Company, Tasty Jealous God, Mummies 83.
3.
Small Blue Rose says mastic. Small Blue Rose
2.
says 19. Small Blue Rose
There's
says
the
pitch.
last and final call.
Small Blue
before we
Rose
pull
says
this one.
78.
Because if we have no one making that $2
Small Blue
million
Rose
reserve,
says rosin.
we are
Small Blue Rose
Cool.
says 30.
unlucky small. But better
Small
to save
Blue
it for
Rose
another day
says
rather
turpin.
than letting it go too low.
Small Blue Rose says
You're all good
36.
little housewife. That's no troubles whatsoever.
Small Blue Rose
Up
says
next is going to
recipe,
be a
ethereal
guild lock.
ambrosia.
If you are ready, Tasty, you can
Small
link up
Blue
that
Rose
next guild lock.
says blueprint, Argonian counter, long. Small Blue Rose says blueprint, Breton light post, single. Small Blue Rose says blueprint, dark elf
Up next,
armchair,
after
angle.
this guild lock will be Black Slash. Just a heads
Small
up, Black
Blue
Slash.
Rose
He
says
will be
blueprint,
up
dark
after
elf
this
chest
one.
of drawers.
Tasty coming in
Small
with
Blue
5
Rose
stacks of
says
the uncut
blueprint,
fish.
dark elf street post,
in this one.
banners.
He's also got 39
Small
of the
Blue
Cerebral
Rose
citrus.
says blueprint, high elf bed, single.
There's also 3
Small
diminished
Blue
cereal
Rose
dust.
says blueprint, high elf table, sturdy kitchen.
1 morning dew.
Small Blue Rose says blueprint, Orsish platform, block.
There's 7 perfect row.
Small Blue
and 4
Rose
Ruby
says
Blossom extra.
blueprint, rough box, boarded.
This one is a guild lock.
Small
from
Blue Rose
Tasty's
says
Trading Company.
blueprint, rough
And
crate,
it is
reinforced. Small Blue Rose says design, apple, display. Small Blue Rose says design, common bowl of soup, display. Small Blue Rose says design, common candles, pair. Small Blue Rose says design, Nord pot, empty. Small Blue Rose says design, Orsish canister, rugged. Small Blue Rose says design, Orsish cask, rugged. Small Blue Rose says diagram, dark elf candle, claw base. Small Blue Rose says diagram, Drace canister, portable. Small Blue Rose says diagram, Nord pot, covered. Small Blue Rose says diagram, Redguard shelf, barrel. Small Blue Rose says, diagram, rough hatchet, practical. Small Blue Rose says, pattern, Apocrypha book pile, short. Small Blue Rose says, pattern, Argonian tarp, sturdy. Small Blue Rose says, pattern, book stack, trio. Small Blue Rose says, pattern, funerary offering, ribbon. Small Blue Rose says, pattern, Necrom banner, narrow bronze stitched. Small Blue Rose says, pattern, Necrom runner, small. Spicy potatoes, Nerdy Noodle 93, LF barley nectar recipe if possible. Small Blue Rose says, pattern, Orcish banner, worn. Agent Navajo says, 200. Small Blue Rose says, pattern, Wood Elf chair, leather. Small Blue Rose says, Praxis, Breton amphora, ceramic. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, berry mead tonic. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Brabble bitter barley beer. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Colovian ginger beer. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, dancing grandma. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, garlic mashed potatoes. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, guarana tonic. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Indoral radish tartlets. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Gerald View in carrot cake. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, warmer tea. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Mistral banana bunny hash. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Pirate's jig tonic. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Puckermint tea. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Rihad Kisher. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, roasted beet and millet salad.
5 food.
Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Shornhelm oxtail soup. Small Blue Rose says, recipe, Solitude salmon millet soup.
I am out of auction. I can talk now.
Small Blue Rose
3,
says,
4,
recipe,
5, 6, 7, 8.
Small Blue
9.
Rose says, recipe, Somerset rainbow pie.
Oh, okay. I'll just fill up the bank.
Small
That's
Blue
fine
Rose
too.
says, recipe, Sun's high pudding. Small Blue Rose says,
What are
recipe,
you
tomato
doing?
garlic
Are you trying to escape?
Small Blue Rose
You
says,
stay
recipe,
in there.
winter rose tea.
It had been a few hours since the pair of them had vanished.
Small Blue
You
Rose
stay
says,
in there.
crafting motif 1, high elf style.
Yet there was still no
Where
Small
are
Blue
you
Rose
going?
says, crafting motif 2, dark elf style.
from one of the storage closets.
Small Blue Rose says, crafting motif 4,
Oh, you
Nord
got
style.
it. Got it.
Small Blue Rose says, crafting motif 5, Breton
Oh
style.
shit! I just
Small
deposited
Blue
my sugar
Rose
souls.
says, crafting motif 6, red guard style.
Yeah,
Small Blue
you get
Rose
back in there.
says, crafting motif 8,
What
orc
do you do?
style.
A trio of Foundation
Small Blue
security
Rose says,
cautiously approached
crafting
Two,
the
motif
three,
17,
4,
Zipkin
5,
only to
boots.
find
6,
SCP-507
7.
Small Blue Rose says, crafting motif 25, Aldmerite Dominion legs.
The reluctant Dimension Hopper
Small
was
Blue
told
Rose
he needed
says,
to
2
debrief
mil
on where he had
residential
just
open.
been and what had happened to his handler.
Small Blue
Officer
Rose
Dalton.
says, you can go ahead and pull it.
SCP-507 began to describe displacing to a dimension he had visited a number of
C4ML11073
times
says,
before, a reality
pulling
that
in
was
5.
shrouded in complete darkness.
C4ML11073 says, 4.
The reluctant Dimension Hopper where he was,
Lil Housewife
and that he
says,
wasn't
chokeberry
alone.
extract.
Doubly so, because Officer Dalton's hand had been on his shoulder, completely by accident.
My little
C4ML11073
buddy's
says,
trying to
3.
escape.
There with him. Switching on the flashlight,
C4ML11073
Get
says,
back in there.
2.
was horrified to see a
Or else I'll go put you
Lil
back.
Housewife says, stray mistake.
He wore a black business suit.
C4ML11073 says, 1.
You becoming a little adventurous now, huh?
C4ML11073 says, pull. Tasty Jealous God says, doofish.
5 food.
Tasty Jealous God says, longfin. Tasty Jealous God says, longfin. Tasty Jealous God says, trod. Tasty Jealous God says, trod. Tasty Jealous God says, 5 STX uncut. Tasty Jealous God says Cyrodile Citrus. Tasty Jealous God says plus 39. Tasty Jealous God says diminished ethereal dust. Tasty Jealous God says 3. Tasty Jealous God says morning
What
dew.
are you doing?
Tasty Jealous God says 1. Tasty Jealous God says perfect row.
Where are you trying to go?
Tasty Jealous God
staying
says
here.
7. Tasty Jealous God says ruby blossom extract. Tasty Jealous God
Oh, you
says
wouldn't
4.
choose. Okay, okay. Get in there.
Spicy
All right,
potatoes,
hold on.
small blue rose. Do we have trader right now? Spicy potatoes, Sunny Bear
Hold on.
865. We do. Jackpot payout, maybe underscore IMO underscore ninja.
Oop.
Lone underscore Black Wolf underscore Zone Guild. Are you looking for a guild with VHM trial runners, leaderboard toppers, and PvP legends? Meet
I have to. Oh, I keep hitting the keyboard.
Smiley face.
I'm having to give my rat a little
Tasty's Trading
cheating sheet.
Company, Quantum SP3
That's what she's looking for.
CP3RX, auction still going? Tasty's Trading Company, listens, yes.
She said, "Excuse you, you
Tasty's
didn't
Trading
give me
Company,
a
Icy
single treat.
underscore
The
Veins,
fuck are you
yes.
doing?"
Tasty's Trading Company, Tasty Jealous God, yes, pretty much just started. Tasty's Trading Company, Quantum SP3 CT3RX, KK Tie. Rubri Ellens, Zone, Orbic Amber 12K, Perfect Row 12K, Paquito 5K, Mastic 100G, Ethereal Dust 70K, Zircon Plating 750G, Chrome Plating 4.3K, Drugwax 1K, Rosin 1K, Kuda 1.4K, Tempering Alloy 2.5K, Mundane Rune 200G, Heartwood 200G, Columbine 200G, Ibine Send Mail COD 4 Gold. Griffin 19, Zone, ILL trade 3 meter gold to anyone that in exchange can get me ESO plus Whisper. Tasty's Trading Company, Mummy Jess 83, our public auction on me. Tasty's Trading Company, Mummy Jess 83, Guild, 50-50 on me open trade and wait till I accept 1 KEA ticket 1 is a 50% pot at 15M, 4th to 5th, for
Alright,
TH
she's got her
200 potent
cheating
5
sheet.
TH 100 Orbic at 35M, 2nd to 3rd, 2 ND 100 A. Dust 3 RD 200 ROE visit ESOauctions.com for numbers. Current pot at 7,932K. Tasty's Trading Company, listens, that's a lot of K.
Is always sure to follow. This is the tale of one of SCP-106's most infamous and horrifying containment breaches. Be warned, the following isn't for the faint of heart. You're about to learn why SCP-106 is still one of the most feared anomalies in Foundation containment. Immediately, the containment site dispatched 3 of its best field agents, Agent Park, Agent Wang, and Agent Drac. Their task was simple: locate SCP-106, minimize potential casualties, and distract the sadistic anomaly long enough for reinforcements to come and contain the creature once again. For the last several years, these agents would eat, sleep, and breathe all things 106 in preparation for a moment just like this. They'd been drilled over and over again on everything from the creature's behavior to the worst-case scenario of what to do if you get pulled into its nightmarish pocket dimension. They were as trained as a person possibly could be for this situation, and fitted with state-of-the-art Foundation equipment to boot. And yet, they were still terrified. They passed through the streets of the nearest city, where containment experts believed 106 was most likely to head after his escape. People of all ages, dressed in Halloween costumes, were out enjoying the night. Child-sized superheroes were hanging out with even smaller villains. Horror movie slashers were sharing drinks with cops and nuns. Countless candy-carrying zombies wandered through the streets. None of them had any idea of the true horror that walked among them. The 3 agents went over their training silently in their minds. 106 was intelligent, more intelligent than anyone back at the Foundation really gave it credit for. It had planned this. It knew that it could blend in among the costume monsters that were sure to be out tonight. Nobody would be able to tell the difference until it was too late. One such person was a young woman named Alex. Dressed up as an angel, her experience that night would be far from heaven sent. Her boyfriend had made the always classy move of breaking up with her right before they were supposed to head
You're about to go back in your cage.
leaving her in a fit of emotional distress and embarrassment. Over
Keep
the course
pushing
of
it,
the
lady.
next several hours, she obsessively reflected on her ex-boyfriend's audacity and lack of empathy towards her, burdening her mind and filling her head with anxiety. His last words, "I'm sorry, it's over," gradually became louder and louder in her thoughts as she stumbled in sadness away from the noise of the streets towards a thicket of trees. She was in such despair she could
Jackpot
barely
payout,
stand.
Death Metal
And as
Joe,
she staggered through
GGS
the
tied.
vegetation, she didn't even notice the shuffling of footsteps behind her, or that they were getting closer and closer and closer. Alice tripped and caught herself against a nearby tree. That's when she noticed a sudden burning sensation on the skin of her hand. She looked up and saw
We'll see how the
her hand
game
was
night
now
goes
coated in
before
a
we
sticky
leave.
tar-like substance. Whatever it was, it seemed to be eating away at the tree, and she could hear the hiss of the corrosive liquid as
What are
it
you
melted
doing?
the skin of her hand. A twig cracked beneath her, and she turned to see the rotting old man staring at her with a malicious grin. She screamed and began to run, but the alcohol had robbed her of her coordination. She tried as hard
I
as
wear
she could
something
to
else
escape
today,
the
and now
flame
you
of
want to
her
come
burning
out
hand,
and hang out?
but it
What?
wasn't enough. She felt a spike of excruciating pain rock her
My rat
nervous
keeps
system.
coming
The
out of
old
my
man
hoodie.
had reached into her back like
That's
a man
not the
operating
deal.
a puppet. His long burning fingers
Where are
dripping
you
with
going?
corrosive grease had melted through her skin and grabbed her by the spine. She screamed in pain, but she was too far away. Not a soul could hear her, and the only creature that could didn't have anything resembling a soul. The creature grabbed her and pulled her into its
What are you
blistering
doing, baby?
embrace. It smiled the whole time, baring every rotten tooth. It held her in place, burning the rest of her body as the two of them sank into the ground together,
Where are
more
you
acidic
going?
sludge pooling at their feet. Alice screamed on, and SCP-106 loved her all the more for it. The screamers were its favorite. By the time Agent Drac, Parks, and Wang found Alice, it was hard to know that this had once been a human. But they knew one thing for certain, that this was the work of the old man, and they suspected that he wasn't
Whoa,
close
psycho.
to being done with his
You're getting a
campaign.
little crazy with your freedom.
Next came a little boy named Jason and his unfortunate friends.
Check out these deals of the week at Walgreens.
They were dressed as the Justice League, with Jason leading the group as Batman. All of them wearing costumes that made
Yeah, she about to go back in if she don't
It
listen.
had been a good night, their bags heavy with candy. As they walked down an
Become a
alleyway,
little
they passed
psychopath.
countless times
Oh,
on their way.
I got you.
They had no idea what was waiting for them.
What?
A
Okay,
long,
okay.
gaunt
Hey,
hand
hey, hey,
with
hey, hey,
black
hey, hey.
ooze suddenly
Whoa,
shot out of the wall and
XX
whoa.
Roxy, Zone, WTS All Trials,
She lost
Arenas
her
and
fucking
Dungeons.
mind. Did you see that?
Skins, drops and titles, VDSA,
I knew
VBRD,
that's what was
VMO,
gonna
VSS,
happen.
ZOF, VES, VKA,
Come here,
VRG,
baby.
VCR, VDSR,
I think
VSA,
it's time you
VLC.
go back. Ugh.
Whisper for prices.
Right.
Guild, Team Brazil.
from the wall, grabbing the children, burning them, pulling them into the dark. Only Jason got away, running and screaming as his friends
Am I covered with poos?
but no one
Don't
gets
look
away
like it.
from the old man that easily. A black puddle formed on the ground in front of Jason, and the old man rose out of it, still grinning its malicious, spiteful grin. Jason fell to the ground, his legs giving out from the fear, but the old man didn't move. He just stared at him,
And now she go all crazy when you put her back.
the most twisted pleasure. The creature lifted something up to its mouth, something that might have been mistaken for a piece of Halloween candy from a distance. But Jason knew better. It was
That's funny.
and Jason could recognize the shining braces still stuck to it. The old man put the tooth in his mouth and crunched it like a jawbreaker, as Jason almost passed out from the sheer terror of watching it. To this day, nobody knows why the old man spared Jason. But when Agents Drac, Parks, and Wang found the boy, the only survivor from the massacre of his friends, he was gripping the metal fragment from Billy's tooth so hard that it was embedded into his palm. But the night still wasn't over yet. The old man still wanted to have just a little bit more Halloween fun.
That one about
One
Larry.
boy couldn't join in on the Halloween adventures
What?
all his friends were having.
Yes.
He was stuck at
I
home
have
sitting
no
in the
idea.
study
It's just,
and then going around at school. All he could do
I think
was
it's just a
sit and
collection of
stare
stories.
as his mother answered
Yeah,
the
but
door, passing
the
out
old
candy
man,
to
his
the
nickname's
children
Larry.
to watch TV.
He like drags people into another dimension.
Yeah.
Candy to puppets, zombies, and vampires. Tomorrow would be even worse when he was forced to watch his friends eating their candy and reminiscing about all the fun that wasn't involved in. His self-pitying was interrupted when he heard his mother open the door to another trick-or-treater. But this time, there was no exchange of words or candy, just a long, blood-curdling scream. The little boy quickly got up to investigate, his heart pounding in his chest. The sound of his mother's pain kept echoing down the hall as the heavy footsteps of something else approached. It rounded the corner and the little boy saw it in all of its horrifying glory. Like something out of one of the old horror movies he had been watching, only worse. It was the rotting old man dragging his dying mother along with one hand that was stuck right into the flesh
XX
of her
Roxy,
chest and
Zone,
grabbing her
WTS
by
All
the
Trials,
ribcage.
Arenas and
He
Dungeons.
screamed and ran upstairs towards
Skins,
the bathroom,
drops and titles,
the only room in the
VDSA,
house
VBRP,
with a lock.
VMOL,
He could hear
VAssist,
the
ZOF,
plodding
VEST,
footsteps of the
VKA,
creature
VRG,
following him up
VCR,
the stairs,
VDSR, VSA,
followed by the
VLC.
sickening sound of
Whisper
what
for
must have been
prices.
the old man dropping
Guild,
his
Team
mother's
Brazil.
body. The little boy slammed the bathroom door shut, locked it, and collapsed against the wood. His face was hot and sticky with tears, but at least he was safe for the moment. Surely someone had heard his mother's screams and would come to save him. As he was imagining the police bursting through the
Jackpot
front door,
payout,
gunning down
Dragon
the
bemused,
monster,
incoming
he heard a
free,
hissing
no whispers
sound coming
please.
from above him. He looked up
Jackpot
and saw the
payout,
face of the
Dragon
old
bemused,
man melting
blueprint,
through the
Argonian
door
tent,
and
read.
smiling at him from above. He tried to scream, but the monster opened its mouth and a tide of corrosive liquid hit him in the face. Moments later, someone did burst through the
Jackpot
front door,
payout,
but it
Dragon
wasn't the
bemused,
police.
blueprint,
It was the
common
three
cargo,
agents
sealed.
drawn to the old man's location by a trail of violence
Jackpot
and acidic
payout,
black
Dragon
mucus.
bemused,
And
blueprint,
as far as
high elf
106
stool,
was
curved.
concerned, this was a great thing.
Jackpot
He had
payout,
just
Dragon
finished breaking
bemused,
his last
blueprint,
set of
Nord
toys,
stool, rough.
and the new ones were here right
Jackpot
on
payout,
schedule.
Dragon
Hard
bemused,
fired at the
blueprint,
creature,
red
but
guard
it wasn't
table,
enough to
sturdy.
save Agent Drac. He was standing
Jackpot
just a
payout,
little too
Shadowwind
close
8,
and
table please.
underestimated how fast the creature
Jackpot
could move.
payout, Citizen
Before he
Burns,
knew it,
X
he
table.
was being dragged into a messy
Jackpot
pit by
payout,
an entity
Shadowwind 8,
that was
rip.
beyond his darkest nightmares.
Jackpot payout,
When he woke
Citizen
up, he
Burns,
was in the
LOL.
one place that anyone who knows
Jackpot
about
payout, Dragon bemused,
SCP-106
LOL
hopes
sent,
never to
smiley
find
face.
themselves. The pocket dimension.
Jackpot
That
payout,
labyrinth of
Shadowwind
twisting
8,
rotten
thank you,
hallways
smiley
where
face.
the old man has total dominion.
2. Sunny Bear
Rapidly
865,
empowered
1.
under the care of the devil himself, then end
Jackpot
up dead.
payout, Dragon
Agent Drac
bemused,
encountered
NP.
horrors beyond conception before he finally, mercifully, died at the
Jackpot
old man's
payout,
hands.
Dragon bemused,
No weapons
next
or
round.
training could save him. No amount of effort
Jackpot
could take him
payout,
out of
Dragon
this
bemused,
hole.
design,
He ran through the
Necromern,
halls for 4
Malachite.
whole days
This
before
is fantastic.
Jackpot
Alright guys,
payout,
I'll
Dragon
be back in a
bemused,
few
dire.
minutes.
started taking